And welcome back to another edition of Hawk Talk. Jeff Dooley with you, joined by Angie Churchill, the head women's softball coach at the University of Hartford. And Coach, before we talk about this year's team, talk about the excitement that you guys have, you and your program, to be playing softball here in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, we were all really excited to get the opportunity to play this year. And, there were a number of programs that opted out or couldn't play, or their conferences decided not to play. So we're just itching to go for 2021 to start for us. So, we're excited about it.
And you were on a roll last year. Looking back to 2020, you'd won 5 of 6 before, unfortunately, the pandemic hit and the kind of world went to shutdown mode.
Yep. Yeah, it was probably our best start in almost 10 years, just looking at like preseason and the first 10 games that span. It was almost the best start in 10 years that our program has seen. So, our young kids, our returners, just that was like my third year. Obviously, this being my fourth year, they're really starting to buy in and buy into the culture here. So we were really excited to see what we were going to do in conference last year. And now, we're really itching to just get going here for this year.
Well, tell us, Coach, about this year's team.
So we have a lot of good returners. We have a great group of freshmen. I think it's going to be a good balance between our whole classes. Like we're going to get contribution from each class, and we have some really young kids, and even like our sophomores, I still consider them freshmen because they only got 10 games in last year. And we had a limited fall this year. We didn't get to play any fall games, so that kind of took away our opportunity to play there too, which is a huge evaluation period for my staff and I. So and the freshmen to kind of get their feet wet a little bit in that capacity. But we're looking for our freshman class to make a big splash. We have two or three seniors that have kind of been leading the way here, that I think and like Danny, who's been our leading offensive player for ever since she stepped foot on campus. She's broken a number of records. I'm excited to see what she's going to do this senior year. They're driven, they're motivated. They've had to go through so many emotional ups and downs, and they're just working hard. We've practiced for 7 weeks now. 7 weeks. They're ready to go.
How much have you had a chance to get outside? We've had a couple of nice days this spring.
Yeah, we've been outside a little bit now. So the past like 2.5 weeks, we've been outside and on our field. So that's not always, sometimes we're jumping on baseball because they're all turf, but
Sure.
And baseball's great. They let us do that whenever we need to. But we've been on our field. We've practiced on our field fully now for a week and a half. And we're just ready to go. We need to play someone besides ourselves.
Yeah, I was going to say, that can get old after a while. How important is it to see another opponent?
Yeah, so it gets frustrating for both sides when you just continue to play yourself, because your hitters really get to know your pitchers, and then your pitchers really get to know your hitters, and then they frustrate each other. And then it's like some days you're like, wow, we have really good pitching. And then some days you're like, wow, we have really good hitting.
Right.
And it's, you fall somewhere in the middle there. But, they've brought good energy and good effort to practice every day. And, we're trying to incorporate this like championship mindset of, day in and day out of just everything we do, and whether that's on the field, off the field. But they've really bought into that, and we've had some really good practices as of late. And because sometimes it's hard when you're just always practicing and never playing beside yourself, to like stay motivated, stay crisp, stay focused. And they've been doing that the past week and a half, especially when on the weekends we should be in a normal year playing, and we're just playing ourselves. That they've been really focused and dedicated to treating every day like a game day, which is really hard to do. It sounds easy, but it's really hard to do.
Tell us about your pitchers, Coach.
Well, Jules has been the kind of the horse for the since she's got on campus too. Juliana Kaczynski, she's just driven. She wants to be the best. She has put up numbers in the top of the conference too since her freshman year. And I think the more she just gets comfortable every year and just continues to grow that confidence, like she's going to be the one that leads the way in the circle for us this year. And again, outside of her, we have three kids that were sophomores last year, and so that they didn't get a ton of experience last year, but they've gotten a lot of good. That the one thing the inter squad scrimmages can do for us is they get that like game like experience in pitching like true innings and as much game like they can do without actually playing another opponent. So I think, and she's kind of taking all of those pitchers under her wing, and they're working really well together as a staff because some of them are so different type of pitchers. So I think they're going to work really well as a staff with her kind of leading the way.
Coach, how about your position players? What does it look like around the diamond?
We're going to be young in some positions, especially in our infield. Our outfield is going to kind of be anchored by, Danny Washrow, Lily Sensor. Left field's there's a great competition going on for that spot. And our two seniors there who have pretty much started every game since they've been here with me, lead the way there. And they are the one really great thing that I've seen about our outfield, man, they as a group have come together as a unit, and they really play for each other. But our infield is going to be a little young, but I'm excited to see what they're going to do because they all feed off of each other. They feed off the energy that they bring, and Jules kind of starts it on the mound, behind the plate. We've got a freshman catcher and then three upperclassmen. So they're all really working well together. So I think our positional players really have something to prove to, and something that they want to show, like, hey, we're in the top of the conference too defensively. So I'm excited to see what they do.
What would you say heading into the season is the strength of the team?
Honestly, like how we're staying together, because this, like, it would be easy to fall apart.
Sure.
It'd be easy to just want to walk away. It would be easy to kind of go at each other and, get frustrated within the team, at the coaches, at the players. It doesn't matter who. It's kind of like the sense of like, it's easy to take it out on your family, right? Because they're the people
Right.
you're always around.
Yeah.
But just our unity, man, this team is really stuck together. And that's something you can't coach, right? So, we can talk about the X's and O's and the swings and the pitches and the angles on defense that you need to take, but man, they have stuck together, and they're really like a true family. And I think that's what's gonna like propel us on the field, because that correlates when you have a tight group of kids. That it may not matter like who's on the field or who's getting the big hits, because they want everyone to succeed, and that's hard to do as a coach. That's hard to like build that culture, but they've really come together this year. So I think that's going to be our biggest strength.
How much have you had to talk to the kids about, listen, we have to be safe. I know you're in college, but we need to do things the right way because, like you just mentioned, UMBC, unfortunately, they're not going to play this weekend due to a shutdown. How much have you had to kind of instill that to your group this year?
Every day.
Yeah.
Every single day. And even just for them to continue to hear it from our staff, our training staff, because sometimes, especially when the numbers were getting a little bit better, it's easy to get a little lax, you know what I mean? Or it's easy to be like, oh, we're good. We've tested negative a couple weeks in a row now. It's easy to kind of let your guard down. We talk about it every day, about just being conscious of what you're doing and making the right decisions and putting yourself in a good situation. So even when we were practicing for so long, there became a point when I was like, you guys, we have to be in a softball bubble. I'm not saying you can't talk to anybody else. I'm not saying you can't be around other people, but you have to have your mask on. You need to keep the social distance because there's no room for error right now. And we could still do everything right and it still not go well for us, but we have to give ourselves the best chance, you know? So we literally talk about it every day. And especially like on Thursday and Friday when it gets close to the weekends, about making sure you put yourself in the right situation, know who you're around. Even when you're going out to dinner, like when the restaurants just started to open up again, get the table that isn't by anybody, you know, like those simple things that just at least put you in a good spot to succeed. So we honestly, we talk about it, and I'm sure our team was like sick of me talking about it, but just to reiterate the message, and you know, they've done really good. And again, easy to complain about all the things that we can't do, but they've just really focused on what we have, what we can do, and what we want to achieve this year. So I'm really proud of them.
And I would think that being with you guys and being together on the softball field would bring some sort of normalcy, because so much in their other points at college, it's just so much different than it usually is.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing that we talk about all the time is this obviously isn't a normal year. Like normally they'd be able to hang out together, build those bonds off the field, which I think is super important as well, and be able to hang out at each other's rooms or each other's apartments. And they can't do that this year. And we talk about that aspect too. And just being on the field together, because in the fall we were in small groups all the time. So, you know, the outfield wasn't with the infield. The infield wasn't with the pitchers and catchers. They never really got to come together as a full group. So one of the positives of being able to practice for 7 weeks as pretty much a full team is they've really gotten to bond together as a team and get to know each other, at least on the field, much more than they have been in the past. So that's a huge positive for us.
Last question, Coach, before we let you go. And I know this season is almost here. You guys have waited and worked so hard for so long, and I know it's almost here for you. What are you most excited about for the 2021 season?
Honestly, just the game. Like, I just want them to play. I want the feeling of competition again. I want them to show up on game day and it be game day, you know, not our inter squad scrimmage or looking at another team with another uniform on. Like, as simple as that. Like, I want to bring that competitive edge back to them, because again, it's hard to replicate that in practice. As hard as we try to do that, it's hard to replicate that true game like speed and energy and competition in the game, because you know, we could do bases loaded, 2 outs, you're up to bat in practice, but it's like, oh, if you don't get it done, we don't lose. You know what I mean? Like, in the game, we might lose. So I'm just excited for them to like get back into that competitive mode and have that feeling of the game again. Like, I'm really excited to just coach them and not always like be talking like, okay, we're working on double plays or whatever, you know, first and thirds or whatever it might be. Like, I just want them to play the game again. I'm so excited for that first pitch. Honestly, I cannot wait for the first pitch of our real game.
Well, your excitement shows, Coach. We appreciate the time and being with us on Hawk Talk. We'll be following your program, and best of luck this year.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right. Angie Churchill joining us on Hawk Talk. Thanks for watching.